Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Wake Up. Today we're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite topics. I seem to like all of our topics, don't I? This one we're going to be talking about the BHHS Action Plans and how you can 2x your business with BHHS Action Plans. And maybe it's 1.3 or 1.5x your business, but 2x sounds a lot better. And I'm not going to go so far as some of the coaching and training programs out there and say 8x or 10x your business. So we'll stick with 2x your business. Bottom line, if you use these and incorporate them into your approach, you definitely will be in a position to increase and enhance your business. So let me start the play there, and I need to close down. Sorry about that. Oh, shoot. Don't want to do that. Close that, and now hit the play button. There we go. All right. As usual, we talk about habits, attitudes, and skills. That's the Buffini Peak Producers approach. Remember, it's always better to be a has than a has not or a has been. So these things all go together, habits, attitudes, and skills. Our classes usually focus on skills and tools. Today we're going to be talking about a great tool, and that is Action Plans at the BHHS Resource Center. So we talk a lot about best practices, and when we talk about using action plans and going to your dashboard and using our CRM, that really falls under the category of best practices. And it hits under the thing that Buffini talks about a lot, and that is grab the big rocks first. I won't go into the whole story, but if you've got a big jar that you can put stuff in and you've got pebbles, sand, water, and big rocks, if you load it up with pebbles, sand, and water first, you won't get any of the big rocks in there. So you got to put the big rocks in first and then get the other things in around them. What the big rocks represent in this analogy is our sales and marketing activities in building our business. That's the key to a long-term success, is making sure that we're constantly adding to the flow of clients coming in. Good morning. So one of the other keys that Stephen Covey talks about in the same regard is don't prioritize your schedule, but schedule your priorities. And those big rocks, those marketing, client contact activities are the key to that. Debbie DeGroat, who's going to be in here next Tuesday at the special event at the Ritz-Charles up on Meridian Street, will talk a lot about her 5-5-5-5 approach to doing this, where she says, okay, let's keep it simple. Don't worry about doing 20 calls or 20 handwritten notes. Do 5 of everything. 5 handwritten notes, 5 texts, 5 calls, 5 emails. Boom. Make it easy on yourself and do that kind of thing. So that's her approach to that. They all fall together under that situation of scheduling your priorities and doing the big rocks first. So again, best practices. The key to doing this is using a good CRM system and the action plans, which we'll get into. And we always talk about start your day at your BHHS lead resource dashboard. And we'll go live in just a little bit here and walk through this. So why is this so important for us? Keep in mind that the contacts, those people that we have on our in our database, are our primary assets of our business. They're also the heart of our business because they are people too. So I like to say that they're both the heart of your business and the primary assets. So without a CRM, where are you storing them? You're sticking these things, figuratively speaking, under the mattress. That's not the best place to get a good return on your financial investments. That's not a good way to get the best return on your database. So why would you use a CRM? A CRM gives us 3 things that basically an Excel spreadsheet or a handwritten list can never do. First of all, it gives us control and appreciation. So we know where everybody is. Have you ever had that situation? Oh, I met those people 2 years ago, and gosh, they said they wanted to buy a house in 2 years. I remember I wrote that on a napkin at the brew pub. What did I do with that napkin? Wow. So using a CRM gives you control of your database and your assets. It also helps you appreciate them in 2 senses of the word. Peak Producers talks about how if we show appreciation to our clients and how much we appreciate their business, their value to us will appreciate over time. in that sense of growing over time. And I'm going to go into a detailed example of what that means to us financially over about a decade of time. So number two, a CRM can provide reminders for us. It's time to contact this person, time to send out this thing to them or whatever. You can set that up. An Excel spreadsheet or a napkin from the brew pub won't do that for you. And the third thing is you can set up with a good CRM system automatic touches so that you're leveraging your time, your focus, et cetera, with face-to-face things, and you can have automatic touches going out, whether by text or by email or by e-card or whatever, using a good CRM system. So that's the value of a good CRM system. Of course, the heart of a good CRM system is the contact details. You know, you don't really think about that much, but a good CRM system will allow you to put lots of details in there. For example, that client that you helped buy a house 2 years ago, and then the last time you talked to them a year ago, they said they had just bought a new Cocker Spaniel puppy. Enter that into your contact system so that if they call you to give you a referral 9 months later, you can pull up their contact and remember, because most of us don't remember these kinds of things unless it's a really, really close friend that we see all the time. But if it's a typical client, you're not going to remember that they got a Cocker Spaniel puppy probably. So, and put the name in there so you can say, well, how's Jip doing? Yeah, it must be like 9 months old now. Wow, you have just endeared yourself to that client by remembering that little special thing that they did. So again, contact details, it's more than just the details. Let me go over a couple more things that are available at the BHHS Lead Resource CRM system. There's a daily calendar that you can use in there. Now, the first question everybody asks is, can I sync this to my Outlook calendar? The answer is no, and I think that's a good thing, frankly. Here's why. I recommend that you put on that calendar the marketing activities that you need to do from within here, so that you can go in at a glance and see what marketing activities. That way you're not cluttering up your daily Outlook calendar with things that aren't really appointments, but that you can have a reminder in here. So it's a great tool to use. You can also, there's also a task list where when we get into things like the action plans, I'll show you how you can assign yourself tasks and the value of that. So you can go in and look at your task list every day or every week, and it will show you the things, I need to call these clients and follow up on the CMA that I sent out to them last week, whatever. So there's that. And then there's also a marketing activity aspect for the calendar where you can look at all the marketing activities that you've set up through the CRM, whether it's e-cards, whether it's action plans, and see at a glance what you've got going on. Again, just gives you more control over what you're doing. One of my favorite things within the Lead Resource CRM system is that you can send a quick email out to people from within this system. So one of the key things when you set up this CRM system, you'll see there, if you can see it there there's a thing where it says My Signature. That's a widget. So when you go in and set this up, make sure that you set up your signature in your profile so that it looks exactly like the signature you use in your Outlook email or whatever email you use. Exactly the same, because what you don't ever want to have happen is they just saw an email that came from your email system, and then you decide to send them another email from this one, and it's got a different signature, and it causes them to sort of wonder, what's going on? Was this an automated thing that they sent me or something? So make sure your signature uses exactly the same font, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and that's a great way to do that. Now, one of the things that I love about being able to do things from in here is it's a great ZAT, what I call a Zappos avoidance tool. So if you get out of the lead resource here and go into your Outlook or Gmail or whatever else you use for your regular emails, what are you going to see? You're going to see all the stuff you've signed up to get notifications from. Zappos, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society of America, things like that, and your attention's going to drift away, right? So if you want to send a couple of emails out, you can do it right from within the resource center CRM there and not be have your attention drawn away to those new Uggs boots that you've been thinking about buying. So the last element of the CRM that I'll bring to your attention to make use of is the contract manager that exists in there. That's part of what you can set up for the for any of your clients who've bought houses, sold houses with you. You can enter in their contact field what contract you did with them. So you can enter the address in there, obviously, and you could also enter in there the sale price and the commission you earned and the date that it closed and whether it was a buy or a sell or whatever. So again, you get that phone call from Wally that you remember vaguely and says, yeah, it's great. It was so great working with you guys 6 years ago when we bought our house. You go, Wally, well, if you've got your system up to date here, and you're not on your bicycle, of course you wouldn't answer the phone on your bicycle anyway, you can go in and look in here and go, Wally, oh yes, 123 Jones Street, yes. How are you and Sally enjoying the house there? So again, it gives you the ability to connect on a better basis and remember what you're doing with people. It also allows you to, in a very broad sense, track your volume and your commissions and things like that during any given year. So the contract manager, a nice feature. So the CRM system has a great set of tools for you to use. And one of the best things that's available there, and again, we'll go live and I'll walk you through how to set these up, is these action plans. And there's an action plan manager, and I'll show you how to get to that under the marketing tab in just a minute when we go live. The key action plans are sets of emails, anywhere from a couple to as many as like a dozen emails. Actually, there's one that has, I think, 21 emails that you can set up. You can go in and customize them, and I'll show you how to do that. You can customize them, and then you can have them automatically go out to your clients, your relationships, whatever it may be. And it's a great way to keep in touch with people and 2x your business. And I'll walk through an example of how that will work in just a second. So stepping back for a minute, contacts and the people in your database, the heart of your business, the assets of your business. The key with all of that, this is right out of Peak Producers, is to maintain a flow of contacts. That means people coming in on a regular basis every week, and because people will go out at some point in time, although don't delete those people who move out of town. I've told this story before. I think we've got a couple new people who might not have heard it. Friends of ours, close friends, when we lived in Washington, D.C. 20 years ago, kept in touch with them. Their daughter, a year or so ago, they lost her job in Pasadena, California, where they had bought a home for her. Needed to sell that home. I referred to BHHS agent. $1.1 million sale, 25% of a 3% commission on a $1.1 million sale. That's a nice little check. You can do the math. So keep in touch with those people who have moved away and get referrals from them and keep in touch with them. So, but the key is the flow of relationships. I've got there that memory jogger that we have that's 143 little items. You'll get that as part of the 90-day success plan. If you haven't gotten that yet, let me know. I'll send it to you. It's a great memory jogger to remind you of people to think of to add to your database when you're first getting into this business. Who's my sister's dog's groomer's, Jiffy Lube salesman or whatever. So just makes you think about people that you might contact to add to your database. So again, the key is to have a flow of relationships. And for example, you have an open house last Sunday and you meet a couple of people, as my daughter did, and you've now got a couple of people who've given you their email addresses. They've expressed an interest in potentially working with you or whatever. What do we do? Usually, I know what I used to do when I'd have that situation occur. I would send them a follow-up email and then forget about them probably, unless they were really looking at something specific, and I'd set them up on a search and then forget about them. So the success ratio of maintaining a contact and converting that person into an actual client is fairly low, because you know what? You're probably not the only open house that they went to that Sunday or the previous Sunday or the next Sunday. So what can we do to change that? Well, the key is to, when you've got somebody who gives you their information, they become a C ranked contact. And Peak Producers encourages us to rate the relationship by the strength of that relationship that we have. And you can set up in that CRM system there groups, and you can add to that. So C, B, A, and A+. C is somebody you just met, whether it's a coffee shop, open house, or whatever, but they've given you their information, and you've gotten them in your database, and the key is then to move them up to a B. A B would be somebody probably who is actually said, you know, we're thinking about buying a house in the next 6 months or the next year even, where you've got something a bit more finite than they're just on your list. And the key is to move them up to that, and then to an A. A would be somebody who has either become a very close friend or ideally a client, somebody you've helped buy or sell a house. That's an A, and maybe they've even given you a referral. An A plus is somebody who's either just a very close friend or a client, current or inactive or active client, who's given you more than one referral. So the key is to move things from C, add C's every week, move them to B's, move them to A's, move them to A pluses. Wow, if you can do that, you will have lots of success in this business. So let's talk about this little example that I've used before here in talking about the flow of relationships. You meet somebody at an open house, they give you their email, you contact them, and they say, we're thinking about maybe doing something next year. Okay, that's great. There are a lot of coaching and training approaches who would say, I don't want anything to do with those people. I'm only looking for people who want to buy or sell in the next 60 days. Well, I disagree with that approach, frankly. It's nice if you find somebody, but frankly, if somebody wants to buy or sell in the next 60 days, don't you think there's a high probability they're already working with somebody? So I don't like that mindset of only trying to pursue people who want to buy or sell right away. So you're going to, if you're younger than I am, which I think almost everybody on the face of the earth is, you are probably going to be working in this business for years or decades. So invest and allow these relationships to appreciate over time. So you meet that person at the open house, they're going to buy next year. You nurture them, you set up a search. Maybe they say, we want to buy in, this certain area of Carmel or Fishers or Broad Ripple or Irvington or whatever. You set up a search for them, and then you set up an action plan. And I'll walk through there's 2 great action plans that serve this purpose. So you've then got automatic touches, and then you have some face-to-face. You coffee, you have them into the office, you meet with them, you talk about sharing with them how you do the business, and then finding a lot more through questions of what their goals really are. So you nurture that relationship, and then they buy in a year. Woohoo! Because you've done a great job of nurturing the relationship. They use you to do that. Woohoo! You get a paycheck. However, stop and think about this. If you're doing a great job with that relationship, not being overly pushy, they might just refer you to friends before they even buy. I think, Anna, you had a situation where you made a contact with somebody, had coffee with them. They said they didn't have the guy from that you wrote to from the IBJ. Yeah, tell that story.
Well, reached out to somebody who I had seen had a promotion, and he reached back out to me, and we got coffee. It was a great connection. Really talked about everything. It wasn't awkward. It was very, very nice to have that experience. Sort of a cold meeting with somebody, and he wanted to do sort of a reciprocal thing because he's a civil engineer. So I gave him builder contacts that I had, and that he was right on board with. I'm excited to refer you to my friends, and we've got a lot of friends. Yeah. We're going to be moving my houses.
That's great. So for those you probably couldn't hear that, Anna Hassler had coffee with somebody that she touched base with. He had no immediate plans for buying or selling a house, but in the course of the conversation, he said, I'm looking forward to referring people to you. So, wow, that's a great thing. So these people, again, in our example here, the open house or coffee or whatever, they may refer people to you before they ever even buy. So, and then if they do buy, within that, the first year, they buy a year later, statistics show us that people typically buy and sell houses about every 7 or 8 years. So let's assume it's every 7 years. That means over the next 21 years, they'll have 3 more transactions, 3 more sell and buy, potentially. So potentially 6 more sides over 21 years, or 24 years if it's 8 years or whatever like that. So, but if you're in this business for a while, that's a nice investment to make. And let's assume that they only refer you every other year, somebody who gets to the closing table. They may give you a referral once a year or once every 6 months or more frequently. But let's say that their referrals, you only get to the closing table with a referral every other year, okay? And then that new client who got to the closing table repeats that same pattern. Every 7 years, they sell and buy again, and they refer somebody who gets to the closing table every other year. So what's your return on investment when you look at it that way? This is phenomenal. Albert Einstein is famous for his quote there, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So that's Albert Einstein's approach. Well, I like to look at when we talk about appreciation, the value of your clients appreciating. Well, that's what happens when you invest your money. It should appreciate as well. So look at this. So year one, again, this is actually a year from now when you've met this open house person. That's year one, client A buys a house. And then in year two, they refer client B to you. Client B is referred and they close on a house. Year three, client B refers you client C, on and on and on and on through that, just through 9 years. I gave up. I stopped calculating that. If you went out for 20 years, it would be ridiculous. 24 transactions, probably involving up to 36 sides. You know, if that person 7 years later sells and buys, ideally you're going to be representing them on both sides. So if you handle this perfectly, it could be 36 sides from that one open house contact that didn't want to buy for a year. Is that worth spending some time on and some effort on and investing and showing how much you appreciate them? I'd say yes. But again, probably things aren't going to be perfect, but how do you, for a second, we'll go to the action plans in just a second. I want to spend one more minute talking about getting those C's in the door. One of the great things from the Peak Producers approach is the what's called the Mayor campaign. It's a great dialogue, and I really encourage people to use dialogues, use scripts, whatever you want to call them. There's lots of them available. We have lots of great ones. Different coaching programs have them. Debbie DeGroat and Excellium, who will be coming in next week, they've got lots of them. Find ones you like. Memorize them, first of all, so that you can spout them back, and then turn them into your own, from your own heart, your own gut. You know, when you memorize them, they're just in your brain and they're not really yours and they don't sound like you, but that's the place to start, and then personalize them so that you can make use of them. The key with these is they help you know what to say, how to respond to people when things go in a different direction or whether there's objections. So the Mayor campaign dialogue is a fabulous thing when you meet that person at a coffee shop or at an open house or wherever. It's especially in a coffee shop situation where you meet somebody, for example. Chatting somebody, you build a little rapport. Invariably, the conversation sort of gets around to, so what do you do? And I encourage, as I've said many times, please don't say, I sell houses, unless you sell the most houses in a certain neighborhood and you want to, that's your mission statement and your stick. I sell more houses in Banana Woods than anybody else. That's fine. But most of the time, what we should be saying is to just say, I help people buy and sell houses. It's a service. I help people buy and sell houses. That's a great way to do it. So the Mayor campaign is when you've established that rapport, they've asked you, what you do, you've told them you buy and sell houses, the conversation is sort of winding down or whatever, and this is a great sort of an approach to sort of say, almost as an afterthought, by the way, I'm in real estate, just kind of curious, if you or a close friend or family member were thinking about buying or selling real estate, do you have a professional that you would use or refer to that close friend? It's almost like you're doing research. I'm a professional in this, and I'm just curious. Do you have somebody? And it's very innocent. And again, if the person says, "Yeah, I do," then you say, "Oh, that's great. Who you use? I know most of the people in the business. Who have you worked with? I'm glad to hear you using a professional because it's so important. This is people's biggest financial investment, and it's important to use a pro." If they say, "No, I really don't," then you can say, "You know what? I would love to have the opportunity to earn your business if and when you decide that it might be time to buy or sell. I have no idea what your timing might be, but I would love the opportunity to earn your business. Could I add you to my database and send you from time to time some information on the market and things that are going on, and earn the right to help you with your business should the time arise?" So again, fairly innocent, and it works. I've noted here Gino Blafari still does this. I've told this story before. Gino Blafari is the CEO of Home Services Franchising, the parent company of all of our BHHS companies around the country. Gino still goes to Starbucks on Saturday morning. He actually called me this past spring. I was helping him with another item having to do with some commercial real estate stuff. He called me at 9:30 on Saturday morning, 6:30 California time. He had just finished his workout, was sitting in his Starbucks. He said, "I'm doing the mayor campaign." And I said, "Why do you don't sell anymore, Gino?" He said, "No, but I refer. And remember, the average ticket on houses out here is in 7 figures, so I can make a nice little bit of income." I said, "What's your success ratio?" He said, "I usually get 2 referrals a month that I can refer out to people and get a check from." Whoa, that's mighty good. So practice this dialogue, use it to add those C's and move them on up the chain. So let's talk about action plans and the action plan manager. And let's go live here now to the resource center and log in. And hopefully everybody's familiar with the resource center, and this is the first page that you come to. And to get into the CRM system, you click on lead resource. Why they don't call it the lead resource CRM, I don't know, because that's what it is. It's the CRM system, but it's called the lead resource. So click on that, and that takes you to what we then refer to as your dashboard, where I really encourage you to start every day right here at the dashboard. So here you can get into the contacts. That's where the contacts reside. That takes you into all the details. One of the things I will mention that I didn't touch on earlier, and I'm not going to go into detail on the contacts, but you'll see here, when you use this to set up searches for people, the searches are integrated into the BLC system. When you set up a search through here, if you do that, someone will get a score whenever they use your system and save properties and go in and look. So you can see how active one of your potential clients or current clients has been looking at things, expanding searches, saving searches, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see then, if you go into this, what properties they've saved. And when you see that on a Monday morning, that it's gone from a red 4, which is a low score, up to a green 53, you pick up the phone and call them Monday morning when you see that. "I see you guys were really busy looking at things. Are you ready to start going out and seeing some houses?" "Yes, Bob got that promotion. Sally got that new job," whatever. So that's the context. I'm not going to go into detail on that. The action plans reside down here under the marketing tab down there. So you open the marketing tab, you can do flyers, you can do action plans, et cetera, et cetera. So you click on the action plan manager, and that will bring up the action plan manager, where it's got a list of all the different action plans. And you'll see here all the different plans: homeowner newsletter, annual occasions, buyer prospects, customer for life, which is a great plan that's fairly new that you can use to keep in touch with clients who've bought a house from you. It's got 21 different emails you can set up and use. It's got investor campaigns if you're working with investors. It's got new customers, seller campaigns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of things that you can use in there. You'll see here it's got this owner thing there. And if it's a system plan or a company plan, then you can go in and open it up, and you'll have to make a copy and edit it. I'll show you how to do that. You'll see here I've got a couple of these where it's a user plan. That means that's one that I have actually made a copy of and then created a specific plan for a specific user, a specific client. And you have to do this with each individual client. You can't create one and use it for multiple clients. Well, you could, but you probably wouldn't want to. So I will show you how to work with this. One of the ones, let's again use this example of the open house where you just met somebody and they gave you their information and they said, "We'd like to maybe think about buying in a year. Our lease expires in a year." So there is the 8 worst mistakes. There we go. There's the buyer prospect campaign, the 8 worst mistakes. There's also the 7 steps to home buying success. So there's 2 different approaches to working with this person, either the sort of the positive things you do or the 8 worst mistakes. And maybe if this is somebody who is not going to buy for a year, maybe you use them both and spread them out over a year. So let's look at the 8 worst mistakes. The first thing you can do a preview of it. You can click on that little screen over there. It'll open up the preview, so you can take a quick walk through what each of these emails would be. I can't afford a home. These are the pitfalls: not selecting the right agent, failing to get pre-approved. So you can walk through and see what the different things that are included on this one would be. And let's say I think I want to use that one. I want to use the 8 worst mistakes here. So you'll come over, and it's got 8 emails, as you might imagine, and you click on copy. So you hit copy and make a copy of it. Now you can rename it and customize it. So here it brings up the new title, Copy of BHHS Buyer Plan. So what I encourage you to do is call it the name of the client, Jones BHHS Action Plan. And then hit save. Make sure you hit save. So now you've saved the plan. Thank you very much. And so it brings up this screen where it shows all of the emails, and you can look at them and see what they are, and you can go in and then customize them. So you can, just like working in Word, you can go in and customize it. And I always encourage, especially for the first one, to type in something like, it was so nice to meet you and Wanda at my open house at 123 Happy House Place, or whatever, so that they know that this is not just a form thing coming to them. I'm glad to hear you're thinking about buying. Congratulations on your new job, whatever it might be. So you personalize it, and then you can modify and change any of the other things in here as well. So again, remember, make sure that your signature is set up precisely to mirror what your actual signature in your Outlook or Gmail looks like, including any artwork or anything like that, so that this doesn't strike them as being from some different source. You want this to feel like it's coming directly from you live. So there you can go ahead and make any modifications and go through that, go through each one of them, modify them. Here's the cool part about this. You can set your time frame of when you want these to go out. So again, this open house, thinking about buying in a year. And let's say we want to just use this one thing for them. Well, buyer mistake number one, it's Monday. I met them yesterday. I want to send this out day 0. I want to send this out right today as soon as I finish this up. So now I'm going to change the timing on these other ones, since it's going to be a year that I want to send these to these folks. So I'm going to make the second one go out maybe in 21 days, in 3 weeks. Okay? And then maybe I'm going to do 30 days after that, and maybe 45 days for a while, etc. So you can set up the time frame. So you're going to be getting a regular email out to these people with valuable information, reminding them that you're in the business, that you are here to help them, and you're keeping that contact with them in the way that nobody else is doing. I've never seen any other company, any other coaching program, any other training system that has anything like this. So this is gigantic for us, guys. So here's the even better part that you can do with this. Right? I talked about task lists and your calendar and your task list things. So here you can add a task. I want to call these people. So I'm going to touch base and set coffee, or as Buffini would call it, come into the office, to have that discussion where you really dig down a little bit more deeply in what their goals are and this kind of thing whenever that's appropriate. I want to make that a fairly high priority. So I'm going to save that, and you'll see it comes in down here at the bottom to give them a call. But this is really cool. These little grab bars over there, you can take this thing now and move it up. I want to give them a call after the second email goes out in 3 weeks. So, and I'm going to do that maybe 3 days after that goes out. So each one of these days is days after the previous thing. So you can set up an automatic reminder to yourself to give them a call and set coffee with them. Wow! I wish I'd had this a long time ago. Then again, maybe you add another one. Add a task. Again, I want to call and set lunch. Medium priority. So I'm going to save that one. And again, you can set the timing on this wherever you want it to be, after 5 or after 6. Maybe you do it after 6 months or so, just to make sure that you're still in contact and they're getting these things. You give them a call and say, I'd love to get together for lunch with you. And in most cases, if you're dealing with a couple, it's going to be one or the other is going to be your primary contact. Probably most of the time, if it's a guy, it's going to be the guy. Most of the time, if it's a woman, it's going to be the woman. Yes, Anna, question. Over on the right side there, that little grab bar, yeah, on the right side, so you can move these things up and down there. So, yes.
And the other emails that go out after the first one, those aren't customized, so you don't do any, hi John, thought I'd follow up with you with another tip, or?
You can absolutely customize them, and I encourage that. Okay. Absolutely.
So what, would you be notified the second one's going out, or do you just do it up front and on this one say?
Yeah, you do it up front. Again, that would be my recommendation. Do it up front and get it out of the way. Spend 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever it takes. Go through each one, set it up.
Some little introduction.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely personalize each one and tie it into their situation. Again, if somebody got a new job, you just met them, and they're thinking because of that new job, maybe they can buy a house in a year. Well, 6 months out, I hope the new job is going well. That kind of thing that touches base, and it both lets them know that you're thinking of them and is a friendly, congratulations kind of a thing as well. So, so definitely yes, customize them. And then when I mentioned those activity calendars and things, when it's time for one of these to go out, it will show up on that little calendar. So on Monday morning, when you go into your dashboard and you look at my activities for this week, if you've got an action plan email going out to the Joneses, it will show up. Action plan number 5, going out to the Joneses. So you'll be able to keep on top of that kind of thing. And again, if you've put one of those call to touch base and set coffee, that will show up in your task list. When you look at that on Monday. You don't have to go into the action plans, in other words, to find that. It will show up on you. It will tell you to do it. Wow, how great is that?
And then if in 7 months they call you and say, okay, we want to buy and it's done, you can go in with the X and eliminate them, the other ones?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So the question was, if they decide to buy sooner and you want to stop this, you can terminate at any time. So, and then there are also great ones. I'm going to go back to the any other questions on the specifics of those? So go and play with them. Set up a fake one and send it to yourself, a personal email. See how it looks. Again, make sure that your email signature is exactly the same as it is on your regular email. So I'm going to go back to the, yes, I want to leave that site and go back to the Action Plan Manager. Here's a great one that I really like too, that I've not really used much, and it's this one, Customer for Life, where it's got 21 emails. And again, you may want to use this with people when they've bought and moved into a new house, and you've helped them do that. So as you can see, some of the titles, it's a pleasure working with you. As you move in, change of address checklist, deed and title, tax benefits, home improvements, your valued client, home safety. These are all the kinds of things that you can send to them. Typically, it sets these up like every 90 days. So you've got 21 emails. What is it? 90 days over 21. That's a lot of emails without being too pestery with people. And go in and look at these. And again, you'll have to set each one of these up, make a copy of it, call it Jones or whatever, Smith, Customer for Life. Go in and take your time right then and update it. And now, obviously, if a year into the thing they have a new baby, you might want to go in and recustomize a few of these later on. After that, the next one says, hope Sissy's doing well, blah, 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 whatever it might be. So, but what a great, this is years, at least a few years of emails going out automatically that are actually emails from you, not a newsletter, which there's a place for that, not an e-card, but an actual email from you that's talking about their house and your services. And remember, the goal of getting those people moving up to B to A to A plus is to show them that you are their long-term real estate advisor, even when there's not a commission check hanging out there hovering over the table. I'm here to be your long-term real estate advisor. And this is one great way to do it. So these action plans are fabulous, fabulous tools. Dig in, play with them. If you have any questions, let me know. You can't, as I say frequently, you can't break these things. So set up. If you want to send them to me, that's fine. I'll be happy to take a look. Oh, thank you for the keynote update there. So bottom line, we've given you another skill or a tool, and if you develop the skill of integrating the BHHS lead resource CRM, and especially these action plans, and make the habit of doing the big rocks first, prioritizing your day at your BHHS dashboard. Remember, Buffini talks about first, not most. You will spend by far the most of your time executing business, showing houses, negotiating contracts, dealing with inspections. You'll spend far more of your time doing that. But if you don't do the business generation activities first, you'll never get to them. We all know that's the case. So that's why they say first, but not most. Take care of those. And that will help your attitude, giving you a greater confidence in knowing you're controlling your day, getting things done, and building your business. I watched a video with Tom Ferry yesterday, and he talked about confidence when we talk to people. And he gave a very simple example of the fact, number one, only 7% of communication is through our words. Something like 40% is through our tone of voice, which is even more than that when it's just a phone call, obviously. And then even more when you're face-to-face is your body language and your carriage. So phone calls, when you're calling somebody up like that, think about having confidence. If you say to somebody, so are you thinking about buying or selling? That's sort of a question, and it shows sort of hesitance. And we've all had people talk to us that way, and we've probably all done it from time to time. What you want to say is, so have you given any thought to buying or selling? A very positive, upbeat tone, and especially if your tone goes down. Oh, you've been thinking about buying or selling? He said that is even stronger in terms of that confidence. So hopefully all of these things go together to give you more confidence in doing what you need to do, using these tools to build your business. So 2X your business. I think I'll stick with that. 2X your business with BHHS Action Plans. So anybody have any questions? I'll see if anybody has anything out there. Anybody out there in Radio Land have any questions? Any questions here? All right. Well, thanks, everybody. You can't break them. Go use them. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.